Hello again. Welcome to class 321, Natasha. We have her in two different pictures. All right. In this picture, she's reading a letter from her cousin, Andre. As you remember, Andre lives in Glasgow. Well, just outside of Glasgow, in the suburbs with his family. Andre's father is an aeronautical engineer. And I think 23 years ago, 23 years ago, the family moved from Moscow to Glasgow. The reason was there was an agreement between a British construction company, a British high technology engine for motores de aviación, and between Russia and an exchange of engineers. And Andre's father had the opportunity to go to Glasgow. And initially they went with the idea of 3 years. But the father was offered an interesting job after 3 years, and they stayed. And they've been living in Scotland for the past 23 years. Now they live in a nice house, a nice house in the suburbs or on the outskirts of Glasgow. All right. Natasha, what has she been doing the past 2 weeks? Well, she's been thinking about Scotland, for the past 2 weeks. And why has she been thinking about Scotland? Well, she's been thinking about Scotland because she has received a letter, an interesting letter. Oh, yeah? Who has she received the letter from? She's received the letter from her cousin. Her cousin. What's her cousin's name? Her cousin's name is Andre. Oh, does that mean Andrew? Yes, and Andres in Spanish. Andrea in Italian. Andrea is de hombre in Italy. Yes, my daughter's name is Andrea. When she goes to Italy, people say, Andrea, es un nombre de hombre. Yeah, so yes. His name is Andre. What's his last name? His last name is the same as Natasha's, Zarakovich. Oh, so Andre's father and Natasha's father are brothers. That's right. Okay. But Natasha's father is dead, right? Yes. But Natasha's uncle is not. Okay. He's alive and kicking, vivito y coleando, in Scotland. And his son Andre has sent Natasha a letter. Yes, very good. Yes. But how long has Andre been in Scotland? Andre, he's been living in Scotland for 23 years. And why is he in Scotland? Well, because his family, he and his parents moved there. Oh, yeah. When did they move there? They moved there 23 years ago. Wow. All right. How old was Andre when the family moved from Moscow to Scotland? He was only 5. Oh, he was 5 years old, so he was very little. He was very little. Is he older than Natasha? No, he's younger than Natasha. How much younger is he? Just 1 year. He's only 1 year, or just o bien only, los dos nos valen. Es solo un año menor. He's just 1 year younger, or he's only 1 year younger. So he was 5, right, when they went to Scotland. That's right. So that means that Natasha was 6. Yeah. When Andre and his family moved to Scotland, Natasha was 6 years old. And Andre was 5 because Andre is only 1 year younger than Natasha. Did they know each other in Moscow? Very well. Why did they know each other so well? Porque se conocían ellos dos, los niños también. Why did they know each other so well? Because they lived next to each other. Maybe next door, one flat, the next flat. They lived next to each other. Okay, did they play together? Who? Natasha and Andrei. When they were little. Yes, when Andrei's family was living next to Natasha's. Natasha and Andrei played every day together. Oh. Does Andrei remember these moments, these times with Natasha? He doesn't remember very much. Does Natasha remember? Yes, she remembers a lot. She remembers a lot of things. That 1 year of difference, 5 to 6, apparently is important for memory because Natasha remembers a lot of things about Andrei, but Andrei doesn't remember many things or a lot of things about Natasha. What does Natasha remember? Exactly. Well, she remembers that Andrei was a bad little boy. Un niño malo, travieso. Yeah. He always hit her. He was always hitting Natasha. All right. But now I think he has changed. Yeah, I think he's a different person. He's not a bad little boy anymore. He's not a bad little boy anymore. All right. Now, how long have they been corresponding? How long have they been writing to each other? They've been writing to each other for the past 5 years. They've been writing, o sea, llevan 5 años escribiéndose, o sea, correspondiendo. They've been, they have been. Yo hago una contracción. They've, I've, you've, he's, she's, we've. They've been writing to each other for the past 5 years or for the last 5 years. Okay, yes. What does Andrei's father do? He's an engineer, I told you. He's an engineer. What kind of engineer? Kind of. Kind of. Dove significa paloma, ¿no? La paloma de la paz. The dove of peace. Sí, pero esto no es una paloma. Esto es, ¿qué clase de ingeniero es? El papá. What kind of? Kind of. Pero nadie lo dice así. Nadie en la historia de la lengua inglesa. Decimos kind of. Kind of. Y dove suena a paloma. What kind of engineer is Andrei's father? He's an aeronautical engineer. He's an aeronautical engineer. Okay, yes. And you said that Andrei has been writing to Natasha for 5 years. Yes, I said they've been writing to each other for the last 5 years or for the past 5 years. Oh, wow. And during these 5 years, Andrei has been inviting her to come to Scotland. Said, you need to come. Natasha, why don't you come? Come to Scotland. He's been inviting her. Yeah, to visit him and his family. To visit him and his family in Glasgow. Not to visit me, nor to visit you, nor to visit Marta, nor to visit Akimorita, but to visit Andrei and his family. El but aquí, sino. No para visitarte a mí, ni visitarte a ti, ni amarte, ni a Akimorita, sino a visitar a la familia Zarakovich in Escocia. Not me, nor you, nor her, nor Aki, but Andrei and his family. But aquí significa sino, no pero. All right. So, well, would Natasha like to go? Does she want to go? Does she want to go? Would she like to go? Does she want? ¿Quiere ir? ¿Le gustaría ir? ¿Quisiera ir? Does she want to go? Would she like to go? Yes, of course she would. She would love to go. Le encantaría ir. She would like? Yes. In fact, she would love to go. What's the problem? Oh, she's got no money, honey. She doesn't have enough money. It's too expensive. I mean, to fly. Really, I think if I remember right, she needs to fly from Moscow to London. And then from London, she needs to fly to Glasgow, or to take a train or a bus to Glasgow. And it's expensive to fly. The ticket from Moscow to Madrid, the cheapest ticket is probably 700 euros or 600 euros. And remember that Natasha is an orphan. Well, orphan, no. Her father died, and the mother doesn't work. Natasha is the only source of income for the family because Natasha's younger brother is still in college. College es la universidad. He's still in the university. He's not working. So Natasha is the only breadwinner. Se dice así, ganador de pan. Que trae las habichuelas a casa. She's the only breadwinner in the family. She's the only source of income. Source is fuente, origen. Fuente de ingresos. Income, es lo que viene dentro, en este caso dinero. She's the only source of income in the family, more or less. Her mother receives a widow pension, pensión de viudedad, a widow pension. But it's only about 250 euros a month. So it's not enough. So Natasha is the main source of income for the family. And the boy doesn't work, the mother doesn't work, so they need to be very conservative. Conservador. Se dice conservativo, se dice en inglés. They need to be very conservative with money. So Natasha can't go to Scotland. It's too expensive. All right? That's the problem. For the past 5 years, Andre has been inviting her. Hey, you have to come, you have to come, you have to come. Tienes que venir. You have to come. Fíjate cómo lo digo. Tienes que venir, eh? Te encantará. You'll love Scotland. You'll love Great Britain. You'll love it. I'll take you to Edinburgh. It's beautiful. I'll take you to the Highlands. Tierras Altas de Escocia. It's beautiful. Yes. I'll take you to the Grampian Mountains. They're beautiful. You'll love it. I'll take you to Loch Ness. A ver si está el monstruito ese. If the monster there, I'll take you there. It's beautiful. You'll love it. You have to come. You have to come. Fíjate cómo, cuando digo tienes que venir, digo have to come. Pero la forma en que lo pronuncio la palabra have, con una F fuerte, cuando dices obligación, have to, solemos F'ar, digamos, con F, la V de have. En otras cosas no. I have a book. I have a V normal. You have to come. But she says, I can't. It's too expensive. Demasiado caro. It's too expensive. But you see the picture. She's reading a letter. That letter is the last letter from Andre. Yeah, really. Yeah, that's the last letter she received about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. What did the letter say? Well, the letter said, Andre in the letter said, I have a new job. 2 months ago, I found a new job, and I'm earning double. I'm earning 2 times more. Estoy ganando. I'm earning twice as much. 3 formas de decir, estoy ganando el doble. 2 veces más. Yes, there are 3 ways. I'm earning. Fíjate cómo lazo. I'm earning. 2 times more. Fácil, 2 veces más. 2 times more. I'm earning double. Fácil, estoy ganando el doble. En inglés decimos estoy ganando doble. I'm earning double. I'm earning 2 times more. Sin embargo, el más corriente es I'm earning twice as much. Twice as much es la forma más corriente. Quizá el 60% o 70% decimos esto. Pero da igual, estos nos valen. I'm earning twice as much as before. And he said in the first 2 months, he used the extra money in the first 2 months of his new job to reserve a flight, to make a flight reservation. or to reserve a flight for Natasha from Moscow. I think, we'll see it in the next episode, to London, Heathrow Airport. And I think Andre will drive down to London. It's about 6 hours, Or, yeah, 6 or 7 hours. He'll drive down to London to pick her up and take her back to Scotland. Now, in the future, they will visit Scotland, but in the end, he will take her back to London. And I think they spend 2 days in London, seeing London. Of course, if Natasha flies to Great Britain, she needs to see the capital, London. It's a very famous city. And so, Natasha, Andrea's paying her flights. He's paying for everything. I mean, does Natasha like this? No, she doesn't like this. Natasha doesn't like the idea of her cousin paying for the flight. Fíjate cómo se construye. No le gusta la idea de que su primo pague o cubra los gastos. No le gusta la idea de que él cubra, o que él pague, o que él reserve con su dinero. She doesn't like the idea of her cousin paying. Es muy diferente en inglés. Subjuntivo en español, de que pague, que reserve, etc. But in English, no. Natasha doesn't like the idea of her cousin covering the expenses. She prefers to pay for her own flight, of course. Natural. You and me, we would have the same reaction. But nevertheless, no obstante, nevertheless, she's excited, about the idea of finally visiting another country. Dice aquí, she was excited about the idea of finally visiting another country. Why? Why is she so excited? Because she's never been abroad. She's never been what? Abroad. Yesterday I taught you abroad. Nunca ha estado en el extranjero. She has never been abroad. Nunca ha ido al extranjero. She's never gone abroad. You mean she's never left Russia? No, she's never left Russia. Oh, poor girl. In fact, she's never been more than 50 kilometers outside of Moscow. Wow. So she's never been to St. Petersburg. No, she hasn't. She's never been more than 50 kilometers outside. Kilometers or miles? Kilometers. 30 miles. Poor girl. Well, when her father died, the family has since her father died, desde que murió su padre, since her father died, she and her family have needed to be very frugal. La palabra frugal, en español existe frugal, frugalidad, pero suele ser en la comida. En inglés no. Frugal means muy conservador con el dinero. Very frugal in everything. And so she hasn't had the opportunity to travel. But she's going to go to Glasgow. Have you ever been to Scotland? Have you ever been to Scotland? Well, Natasha hasn't been to Scotland either. I've been there. I've been to Scotland 4 times, maybe. 4 times. The first time I went to Scotland was in 1974. Yes, 1974. By bus, going up by bus from London to Edinburgh. The second time I went to Scotland, I think was in 1977 with my future wife. We went to London and went to Scotland. The third time I was in Scotland was with my wife and family when my children were little. My daughter was 10 and my son was 6 maybe. We flew to London I rented a car, and whew, we went straight north to York, Newcastle, Edinburgh, and around Scotland, all the way to Ullapool, north of Fort William. Oh, up, hacia el Polo Norte. And then we drove back down to London. It was a good trip, maybe 2 weeks or more. It was a good trip. A lot of rain. Okay, because it was, I don't think it was in the summer. I don't remember. And the fourth time was with my wife and another couple. And we flew to Liverpool from Madrid. We flew to Liverpool. John Lennon Airport. The airport in Liverpool now is called Aeropuerto John Lennon Airport. There we rented a car and we drove to York and then north to Durham, Newcastle, Edinburgh, Stirling, and then back to Edinburgh, and then back to Liverpool to return to Spain. So I've been to Scotland 4 times. I recommend all of Great Britain. It's very, very beautiful. Scotland is beautiful, very interesting. It's not difficult to understand Scottish people if they speak directly to you. If they're speaking to each other, good luck. You say, good luck. And, well, if they speak directly to me, I understand them, usually. And I think Natasha's going to enjoy it. Yes. So apparently Andre is not a bad little boy anymore. All right. So that's the story with Natasha Zarakovich. We are now on page 312. Marta, how much time do we have? Do you know? How much time do we have left? Do we have enough time? Oof, we have only 2.5 minutes. All right. Pues voy a seguir adelante a pesar de la falta de tiempo. Escucha. I'm going to continue despite the lack of time. La falta de tiempo. Lack. L-A-C-K. Lack. I'm going to continue despite the lack of time. Alternativa. I'm going to continue in spite of, tres palabras, in spite of the lack of time. Third, I'm going to continue despite the fact that we don't have much time. 4, lo mismo. I'm going to continue in spite of the fact that we don't have much time. Y por último, and finally, I'm going to continue even though we don't have much time. And those are the 5 ways of saying basically the same thing. Despite, in spite of, despite the fact that, in spite of the fact that, and even though. And in the next class, I'll explain it very, very carefully. I've explained it in the past. This is not the first time, but I want to do it again and again. In spite of the fact that we saw this maybe here, I want to do it again. Despite the fact that we saw it here, I want to do it again. In spite of having seen it here, I want to do it again. Despite having seen it, I want to do it again. Even though we saw it here, I want to do it again. In spite of the fact that, curioso, porque en inglés, en español se dice, a pesar de que lo vimos. A pesar de qué. Pero en inglés no existe a pesar de qué. Existe a pesar del hecho de que, y es obligatorio insertar el hecho, la palabra el hecho en medio. Curioso. En este caso el español es más escueto y más eficiente. A pesar de que lo hemos visto ya, bueno, lo hemos tocado un poco. A pesar de que. Pero en inglés, a pesar del hecho de que lo vimos en un momento, in spite of the fact that, in spite of the fact that, or despite the fact that. Well, we still have a lot of time, eh? Marta is not telling me anything yet. Normally, well, this class is 26 minutes. Yeah, we have 1 minute left. This class is 26 minutes. And I keep forgetting because my radio classes are 25. And so I get confused. When she showed me on her phone, she showed it to me. And so I saw the amount of time consumed up to now. But I subtracted from 25 and not from 26. All right, so in spite of the fact that I misunderstood Marta, I was still able to cover. Even though I miscalculated the time, I was able to introduce point 2820 effectively, de forma eficaz, page 312. And we'll come back in the next class with page 312 and continue with instead of and rather than. So, study tonight, okay? Have a good day.